Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Another college football Saturdays in the book, y'all. It's happy times, it's sad times, y'all. We only got 3 regular season Saturdays left to go, y'all. Seems like college football takes so long to get here. Then once it's here, it flies by. We're going to recap the weekend, y'all. We're going to talk about the blue chip ratio a little bit. I've seen an interesting stat involving the Big Ten and the SEC. We're going to got another little thing we're going to go over. I don't even know how to tell you about it, so we'll just talk about it when we get there. Hope y'all had a great Saturday. Hope you're having a good Sunday. I'm in my church clothes too. Let's get this show started, y'all. Y'all do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit that subscribe button. Get in that comment section. Hit that thumbs up for me. Let's get into it, y'all. We're going to start with the Friday night games. Friday night we had Tulane taking on Memphis. If you remember Tuesday, when the college football playoff poll come out, Memphis wasn't ranked, but there's the highest ranked group of 5. That's about to change this week, y'all. So we know at least one team is out. Tulane goes into Memphis Friday night. I told y'all these Friday night games, there's always some kind of chaos in them. Tulane coming off an ass whooping by UTSA. What's South Florida do to UTSA? Beats the brakes off them by like 32 points. Tulane goes into Memphis, gets the upset. I picked Tulane in this game. I even told you, the only reason I picked Tulane is because that was my group of 5 team for the playoff before the season started. They went in there, got the win for me. Unfortunately, their coach is probably off to somewhere. Arkansas, LSU, Florida, all the jobs that are open. He's going to get one of them. John Summerall's a hell of a coach, y'all. So there's a shakeup. Do y'all think South Florida or Tulane will take that last group of 5 spot for the playoff? Which one do y'all think moves up? I think South Florida's resume is still better, so I'd like to see South Florida get in there. Even though I did pick Tulane to be the group of 5 team, I still think South Florida should get it. Friday night, you also had Northwestern traveling out to USC. I picked Northwestern to cover that 14.5 point spread. Thumbs down on me. USC handles business. There was a controversial play in this game. This game was only a 3-point game heading into the 4th quarter. USC fakes a field goal. Not a fakes a punt, but they put their backup quarterback in. Put the punter's number on the backup quarterback. Faked Northwestern out, scored a touchdown. Big Ten comes out, says it was illegal. That doesn't help Northwestern. Northwestern would have still lost. But they would have covered and people would have probably made some money off of it. That's a different story for a different time. USC handled business. They did cheat, though. Changed the backup quarterback's number to the punter's number. Faked the punt, got it. Everybody's like, oh, that's good gamesmanship. The Big Ten come out and said, no, that's illegal. But what can you do about it now? They got away with it. If I was them, I would have saved that for a bigger game. You was probably going to beat Northwestern anyway. Now, maybe in 4th quarter if you needed it, bust it out. But Tulane, Northwestern, you was probably going to beat them anyway. So I would have saved that play for another game. Hell, you're still in the playoff hunt. Busted out in the playoffs. Make them tell you it's illegal after in the playoffs. But they busted it out. Now they ain't going to get away with it again. Dirty cheaters, y'all. We had a lot of close games this weekend. that we didn't think was going to be that close. And the favorite survived in most cases. There was a few upsets. We're going to talk about it. This is one of them. Indiana barely escapes Penn State. Penn State has lost 6 in a row now, y'all. The favorite to win the title coming into this season has lost 6 games in a row. Indiana skates by, stays undefeated. Penn State covers the spread. I picked Indiana to win, cover the spread. It wasn't my best weekend, y'all. Indiana gets a hell of a grab in the end zone, win the game at the end. In the NFL, if you're going backwards, your heel has to land in bounds too. They say in college football that it don't. Here's a catch. Penn State puts up a valiant effort. I figured their team would quit. They didn't. So props off to them, because another team we talk about later looks like they 100% quit on their team. They just look like they quit. Texas A&M travels into Missouri. Missouri's third-string quarterback. They say the backup because the guy that was battling for the starting job, he got hurt at the beginning of the year. He's out. So a freshman comes in against the number 3 team in the country, and it looks like you figured it would look. Texas A&M manhandles them. That quarterback had a terrible day. He got hit, fumbled the ball a couple times. Texas A&M ate his lunch, took his lunch money, sent him home hungry. 38-17. There ain't much to say about this game. A&M's defense stuffed Missouri. They knew if they stopped the run that they would win the game, because that backup quarterback had no chance. Moment was too big for him. That's okay. That happens when you're on the third-string quarterback. That's a freshman, y'all. Missouri drops their third game. Their playoff hopes probably done, y'all. So there's one person eliminated. And I still think, I told y'all a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, that I do think 1 or 2, 3 lost teams will get in this year with all this chaos going on. But that loss out there probably sealed Missouri's fate. Not quite sure. They still have a game or 2 left. Not sure it's enough to get them back in. I picked LSU to cover the spread against Bama. Their offense, y'all, I thought they'd get a little boost after firing Kelly. A lot of these teams, after they fire their coach, have a week or 2 where they look really good, get a little jolt. Their defense played really good, y'all. LSU's defense played really good against Bama. The offense was so bad, Nussmeier got benched. There's another quarterback got benched. Both of them. Coming into the season, was everybody talking about them being 2 of the best quarterbacks in the conference? They said Nussmeier is going to be a first-round pick. The other guy's not draft eligible yet, but they said he's going to be the best quarterback in the conference, blah, blah, blah. That goes to show you, all the preseason talk don't mean shit, y'all. Preseason talk is just that. Talk. Penn State was the favorite to win the national title. They've lost 6 games in a row. Clemson was top 3 or 4 to win the national title. They've been terrible. It's been a crazy year, y'all, and it's going to be like that every year from now on, as long as the transfer portal is free agency every year. Because these rosters, yeah, you think, they got these transfers, but they weren't that highly rated. Sometimes it's just getting the right system. We see it every year. Look at Indiana. Besides Mendoza, their roster's not full of a bunch of big-time players that people thought they got that was going to be so great. Yet they keep finding a way to win. Alabama handles business, covers the spread by 0.5 point. Cost me some money. You know how it is. I only put like $5 on these parlays, y'all. I'm too poor to bet a lot of money. But if you do bet a lot of money, hats off to you. I hope you win. I talk about betting on this show quite a bit, but I always say, if you don't have the money, don't bet it. I don't have a lot of money, so I don't bet a lot of money. I just make it a little more fun to watch the games throughout the day. Georgia went into Mississippi State yesterday, y'all, and put belt to ass. I mean, they beat the brakes off Mississippi State, y'all. The spread was only 9.5. It even got down to 8.5. This game was over at halftime, y'all. Georgia was up 24-7 at half. Finished the job in the second half. Georgia looks like that team, y'all. They're peaking. Right time of year. Kirby has a knack for doing that, too. Last year, it looked like they was doing that, too, and then Carson Beck got hurt. But this year, they're peaking. Their defense was getting sacks yesterday. I think they had almost as many sacks in that game yesterday as they had the whole season, y'all. Georgia's trending up. And they got Texas next week, y'all. Texas. They're on that bubble. They still got Georgia and Texas A&M. But Georgia is a hot team, y'all. You better look out for Georgia. Texas Tech, y'all. They stifled BYU yesterday. When they're healthy, they've not won a game by less than 20 points this year. And that includes yesterday against the undefeated BYU team. Texas Tech wins 29-7. The final spread on this game was 13.5. Texas Tech covered it, and they covered it easy. The only score BYU got was a garbage time score at the end of the game, y'all. Texas Tech is the cream of the crop in the Big 12, y'all. They have by far the highest blue chip ratio of any team in the Big 12. No other Big 12 teams even close to even probably 30-40%. Texas Tech spending that money, taking advantage of NIL, taking advantage of the transfer portal. They're going to be a team to look out for the next few years. Like the only game they lost, they had their third string quarterback, y'all. Besides that, they went belt to ass on everybody they played so far. It don't matter who, they can get it. They beat the shit out of Utah. Beat the hell out of BYU yesterday. When they're healthy, I don't know that anybody in the Big 12 can beat them. I really don't. Texas Tech is that one team from the Big 12 that could win a game or two in the playoffs. I really, truly believe that. If any other Big 12 team gets in, I don't see them being able to win a game, but Texas Tech could. Baron Morton stays healthy, Texas Tech could win a game or two in the playoff. I don't think they're a national title contender yet, but if they keep trending into next year, they really could be, y'all. Oregon goes to Iowa. Gets an absolute scare in the piss pouring rain, y'all. Iowa takes the lead with like maybe 2 minutes left. Oregon drives down, gets the easy field goal, wins the game. Iowa's played really good ball this year, y'all. They lost to Indiana by 5 and Oregon by 2. Usually Iowa will win games against the lower tier teams in the Big Ten. Then when they play big dogs, they get whooped. This year they're throwing blows for 4 quarters, y'all. I mean, they're battling to the end. I thought Oregon would win this game by 10 to 14 points. Iowa covers the spread and legitimately had a chance to win that game. And that's multiple times this year that Iowa's had a chance to win games. I'm not sure that the Indiana and Oregon's rosters are as good as we thought potentially. Oregon's obviously up in the top as far as talent goes. But I think they got a little bit of youth, and they're still trying to figure some things out. In Indiana, when Indiana plays teams with a really high blue chip ratio that has a lot of talent, They still seem to struggle. Yesterday against Penn State is a prime example of that, y'all. Wake Forest. I told y'all, Wake Forest. I told y'all Thursday. Goes up to Virginia. Beats Virginia. That was one of my upset picks of the week. They get it done. Virginia's been living on the edge, y'all. 3 or 4 overtime games. I think every game they played in the last 5 or 6 has been one-score games. Eventually, the tide's going to turn. No pun intended. And you're going to lose those games. If you keep playing with fire, you're going to get burnt. Remember back when you was young and the stove was hot and you kept going around it, and your parents say, better quit, that's hot. Then you touched it. Which parent did you have? Parent, oh, honey, oh. Or did you have the parent that said, told your ass that shit was hot? Bet you don't touch it again. Well, Virginia, if they want to keep making a run towards the playoffs, they're going to have to start winning games by more than 3 to 7 points. Because that shit comes back to bite you, y'all. And these videos are going to get better, y'all. I've invested in some equipment. I've got to get me a better light, all that stuff. The time change has killed me. I'm working on it. Y'all just work with me. Another upset that happened. There's 3 upsets yesterday that we were talking about. It was Wake Forest over Virginia. Cal traveled across the country to Louisville. 18.5-point favorites. Take the Cardinals down in overtime. Louisville is one of the teams that Virginia scraped by against in overtime. That is Louisville's second loss. Cal has been a weird team, y'all. One week Cal looks really good. Their quarterback, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Sagapula or however you say it. He's up and down, but he's definitely got potential. He's young. Wilcox is a pretty good coach. He wins just enough out there. If Cal starts investing in football, Wilcox could win 8-9 games a year there, especially in the ACC. Louisville, I think Braun being talked about for all these jobs too might have distracted the team a little bit. That's part of the territory nowadays. You got a lot of coaches being talked about for other jobs. And it seems like the week they get started to get talked about more, their team lays an egg that week. Part of it, coaches are going to have to figure out how to navigate it. It's a learn on the fly experience because this has never happened before where it's been happening this early. There's never been this many coaches fired this early in the season. Wisconsin gets their first Power 4 win of the season, y'all. Right after they say they're going to keep Luke Fickell next year and invest more in the football program. Wisconsin had lost 10 straight Big Ten games before yesterday. Washington looked like a pretty good team. They were still in the playoff hunt, technically. They go to Wisconsin and drop an absolute egg, y'all. They're 10.5-point favorites. Most good teams this year that Wisconsin's played has named their score. Iowa beat them 37-0. Ohio State beat them 34-0. Alabama beat the shit out of them. Oregon beat them 21-7. It's pouring down rain. Oregon ran the ball like 50 times. Washington laid an absolute egg, y'all. I thought Washington would win that game. Everybody thought Washington would win that game. There's nobody besides a Wisconsin fan that thought Wisconsin could win that game. But hats off to Wisconsin. One good thing is a lot of these teams losing. That gives my balls just creeping up a little bit. Still giving themselves a chance, especially if Vandy keeps winning, to be right on the outside there looking in. Chance to creep back in that playoff. We handle business. Vandy handles business. You never know what we could be playing for it last Saturday, y'all. I'm not getting my hopes too high, but Chaos is happening every week, y'all. It's possible. This is a shout out for my buddy Tadpole. West Virginia hands Colorado another loss. Colorado's 3-7. West Virginia wins 29-22. They cover the 6.5 point spread. I really put this game on there just to shout my buddy Tadpole out. And to talk about how quick the shine has come off the Colorado football program, y'all. It happened fast. I mean, very fast. They went from being the most talked about team, really, even their first year when they sucked, they went, 4-8? The media was talking about them every single week. Last year, they went 9-4, still talked about every single week. This year, they're losing, and nobody's talking about it. The media parade, the celebrities coming out the games, the this, Dion that, Dion this, it's gone, y'all. The experiment is over. Colorado's still going to be Colorado. And part of it is not Dion's fault. He's got a lot of health issues, y'all. I just commend him for going out there, coaching this season. After what he went through in the offseason, he went through a lot this offseason. He really did. But at the same time, in football, people expect results. I do not think Colorado will fire him because they're still getting a lot of money off him being coach. And I think he will step away at the end of the year. I know he's talking about trying to get players to come. He said, if these results scare you off, we don't want you anyway. We want some dogs. We want to turn this around. Look, the man needs to go home, relax, and enjoy watching his son in the NFL if he ever gets to play. Hang out with his kids, his family. Enjoy life. You got too many health problems. The experiment's over. Your kids are gone. You got to coach your kids all the way to the NFL. Go on and relax. You're not a head coach. You bring all these NFL guys in that was good at football. Just because you're good at football don't mean you're a good coach. It's like Warren Sapp. His defensive line sucks. And they actually have some talent on defensive line. It's just a failed experiment. I don't blame Colorado for doing it. You got to try what you can do, especially when you're Colorado and you've been as down as they are. You can hire somebody at such a polarizing figure like Dion. They got them 2 years of attention, and now the shine is wore off, and they're back to being Colorado. This is where I start talking about another coach getting fired, y'all. Florida State goes up to Clemson. Clemson finally wins a home game. Clap it up for Clemson, y'all. Clemson had lost 6 straight home games before this game. How crazy is that? Clemson, who used to never lose a home, has lost 6 home games in a row. I still think Dabo could end up leaving Clemson. I don't think Clemson will fire him. But I think if he can get another job, he'll take it. I think it's just ran its course there. The fans are done with him. He's done with the fans. He wants to go somewhere else, try to build it up, get some more love. Dabo's thin-skinned, y'all. It's hard to be a head coach and be thin-skinned. Clemson covers the spread easy. Florida State drops to 4-5 after starting the season beating Alabama. The only team to beat Alabama still. That's why you can't overreact to week 1, y'all. I said that then when Alabama lost to them. So damn, I hope Alabama's bad this year, but you can't overreact to week 1. A lot of times week 1 will give you results and you run with them, and then teams start hitting their stride as the season goes. But back to Florida State. I can't believe Norvell's not been fired already, y'all. This man had 2 winning seasons in 6 years. 2 winning seasons in 6 years. If he gets 6 wins this year, That'll be 3 technical winning seasons in 6 years. If he gets there, he's still got Florida. I don't know who else they got. I've not looked at the schedule. But the fact that he went 2-10 last year, has a chance to go 4-8, 5-7, 6-6 this year. He's got a 3-9, 3-7 something a COVID year, then a 5-7, then a 9-3, 13-1. Norvell has ran Florida State into the ground. Him and Coach Prime are prime examples that you still have to recruit high school some. You cannot just live in the portal and have a whole new team every year. Kiffin does it about as good as anybody. Kiffin still recruits high school, but he don't get as many high school guys as teams like Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, stuff like that. And Kiffin gets enough high school guys and mixes it with portal guys, but also Kiffin gets portal guys that he can keep for a year or two. A lot of the guys Florida State and them gets guys that are there for 1 year. You can't build no continuity. You can't have good team chemistry. You can't do nothing like that. Norvell has completely ignored high school recruiting in a recruiting hotbed that is Florida. At least Napier failed, but Napier recruited high school at a high level. He just couldn't coach worth of shit. Cristobal's starting to prove he's not that great of a coach either, which I've said from day one. Cristobal had all that talent at Oregon, went 7-6, and then got the Miami job. As weak as the ACC is, and as good as Clemson, Miami, teams like that recruit, they have no excuse for not winning 9-10 games a year. Even though Cristobal's doing that, he has no excuse to not win more because the money they spend in the portal too and bring these guys in, Cam Moore and Carson Beck. It's every time Miami's in a close game, it seems like they lose because Cristobal makes terrible coaching decisions. But we're getting sidetracked here. Do y'all think Norvell is the coach at Florida State next week? I can't believe he ain't been fired already. It's still early in the day. Last time I made this video about Brian Kelly, I got off here, posted it. Brian Kelly got fired. But do y'all think Norvell survives in Tallahassee? Because I don't. You got to get a coach at Florida State that recruits high school. There's too much damn talent in Florida for you to live in the portal. They just are. Let's keep it rolling, y'all. Kentucky goes scorched earth on Florida yesterday, y'all. Florida's quit. They had to. Kentucky beats Florida 38-7. They skull drag them, belt to ass. Whatever you want to say, Florida looks like they quit. DJ Lagway got benched for a freshman. How did it go so wrong in Florida, y'all? Where they went wrong was they kept Billy Napier 1 year too long. All because they wanted to keep DJ Lagway. That was the whole reason they kept Billy Napier last year. They beat Ole Miss, LSU at the end of the year. The only reason they kept him is because they wanted to keep Lagway. Because Lagway looked decent as a freshman. I said in the offseason, he's like a 55% completion guy. Yes, Florida won those games, but it wasn't because of Lagway. And Lagway still has a chance to be a really good player. Here's just had a guy that cannot develop players. Look back at Florida's players, y'all. From the time they're freshmen to the time they leave, they do not get better. Napier could not develop talent. He could recruit it. He had way too much talent on that team for them to be so bad. But that's how it goes. Mark Stoops. Did Mark Stoops save his job? It's possible. He's pulled off a win against Auburn and Florida in back-to-back weeks. Is that saying much? I don't know. It looked like to me Florida quit. But I know the way it goes. Florida will still get up and give Tennessee everything they've got in the swamp. I know how this goes. I hope we get that same Florida team when we travel down there. But I don't think we will. If Florida's going to get up for any game the whole season, it's going to be Tennessee. Last but not least, one of my other upsets I hit, y'all. Nebraska travels out to UCLA. They were 2.5-point underdogs. Backup quarterback looked really good. They handled UCLA. I thought Vegas reacted too much to Raiola being hurt. Yes, he is a great quarterback, but Nebraska's roster as a whole is still way better than UCLA's is. And UCLA beat Nebraska last year, so this was a revenge game. Nebraska handled them pretty well. They only won by 7, but they really dominated the game. There's never a point where I was like, UCLA's going to win this game. So that's the recap for the week, y'all. Let's look at this blue chip ratio thing. It says, let Indiana, Penn State be a lesson to all of you. Play blue chip ratio rosters, and anything can happen. 9 out of the 16 SEC teams have an over 50% blue chip ratio roster. That's the threshold to being able to win a title. It's not a power vacuum, it's a surplus. And look at that. Look at these people's schedule, y'all. Ohio State and Indiana's played 2 teams apiece with a blue chip ratio over 50. Ohio State's was Penn State and Texas. They beat Texas by 7, beat Penn State by like 24. Indiana's 2 teams are Oregon and Penn State. 2 of their closest games besides Iowa. The rest of the teams they play that don't have that blue chip ratio, they beat by 50 points. Texas A&M's played 4. Bama's played 5. Georgia's played 5. Ole Miss has played 4. Tennessee's played 4 or 5. Oklahoma's played 5. Texas played 4. Notre Dame's played 3. BYU, 0. Texas Tech, 0. Utah, 0. Virginia, 1. Louisville, 2. That's what we mean when we say the Big Ten is nowhere near as deep as the SEC. That's what we mean when we say the Big 12 and the ACC are garbage. That's what we mean. These rosters, the top 2 or 3 in the Big Ten, 3 or 4 in the Big Ten, yes. But the rest of them, garbage. Big 12. Texas Tech is the only team in the whole damn conference with a blue chip ratio even close to 50. The ACC, you got Clemson, Miami. No other team in the ACC is even close to 50. The SEC, 9 out of 16 teams is at 50% or higher. And I bet you 3 or 4 of them's right below 50%. That is why we talk about the SEC gauntlet. And yet our commissioner is still a dumbass and moves us to non-conference games when the committee don't give a damn about strength of schedule. A 6-3 Tennessee, a 6-3 Oklahoma, Texas, if they lose another one, should be ranked ahead of a 7-2 Virginia, a 7-2 Louisville. And it shouldn't even be a question. Until their schedules are close, the committee's got to quit acting like a damn record is all that matters. Because it's not. A 6-3 SEC team with losses to Georgia, Bama, and Oklahoma, all top 10 teams this week in the AP poll, should be ranked higher than a Virginia team that has losses to freaking Wake Forest and North Carolina State. It's that simple. What do y'all think about it? The committee does not give a damn about strength of schedule, even though they said they was going to this year with their new metric. They don't. That's why I think Greg Sankey is stupid for having a non-SEC game. That's my honest opinion. We'll talk about that more tomorrow on tomorrow's episode, y'all. Let's look at this graphic real quick. We'll get out of here. Enjoy our Sunday. Look, it's got SEC teams beside of ACC teams' records. It's got Texas A&M beside Virginia. Virginia, until yesterday, was the leader in the ACC. Number 1 in the ACC. Georgia Tech was second. You got Alabama. This is where these SEC teams rank the same in the SEC as these ACC teams. So look at that. Pitt, Ole Miss, Georgia, Louisville, Texas, SMU, Oklahoma, Duke. It says this league is just impossibly deep. It's a dogfight top to bottom, and it's even November. There's no way to know who's going to finish on top. Woody Ray said, no comparison. The 6 listed SEC teams would crush the 6 listed ACC teams. Absolutely correct. In a regular season game that mattered, the SEC would go 6-0 in those games. Now, these bowl games, everybody says, oh, they're winning these bowl games. That's because bowl games don't mean shit no more. The only games that matter are playoff games. These bowl games, half the teams don't play anymore. Half the teams' players don't play. They go, oh, I'm getting ready for the NFL, or oh, I'm entering the transfer portal to go here. If Texas A&M played Virginia, they'd win by 30 points. If Alabama played Georgia Tech, they'd win by at least 14-20. If Ole Miss played Pitt, same thing. Georgia played Louisville, same thing. Texas played SMU. According to which SMU you get, 1 week SMU looks like a playoff team. 1 week they look terrible. But I'd say Texas wins at least 7 to 10 points. Oklahoma gets Duke. Oklahoma wins by 20 points. Duke beats Clemson, then turns around and loses to UConn this week. What do y'all think about that comparison? Do y'all think the SEC would go undefeated against those teams? Let me know in the comments section. Appreciate y'all tuning in, y'all. Hope y'all had a great college football Saturday. Hope you had a blessed Sunday. If you haven't already, do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Get in that comment section. God bless you. And as always, go Vols.